result. So let's go to reporting. Reporting is a tricky job. It takes a lot of meddling with data if you want to get your data organized. But we as Biocheck decided that we would provide you with a feature that would allow you to report PCR results with basically 2 clicks of a button. So let's go to reporting. It's called in the software, unsurprisingly, reporting. And all I need to do now is select the proper one. We have a whole bunch of data analysis tools, but today I want to use PCR. So I'm selecting PCR. The default starting screen is ELISA, but today I want to use PCR. Here is a complicated screen, but I'm going to make it a little bit easier by just highlighting the stuff where you need to look at. So here are the 3 different types of PCR assays that we have in our portfolio at the moment. So we have the legacy kits, which would be the influenza A kit. I have an exogenous option, which would be PRRS, and I have an endogenous option, which would be NGMS. So let's start with influenza, which is the one that I made invalid on purpose, as you remember. So let's hit search, and here is some stuff. There's the valid one because that plate is also there, but the invalid one, as you can see, is not in my list. That is done on purpose. If a control is invalid, we made sure that it's will be difficult to report it because I don't want you to report invalid results. But the option is there to get access to it. All you have to do is go to include quarantined assays, hit search again, and here is now the plate that I wanted. Here is my invalid influenza assay. Let's go to preview report. You shouldn't do this because you shouldn't report invalid results. Here is the report, and the report immediately states over here that the NC was invalid, CQ values are out of range. So we have built a safety feature where it is very difficult for someone to try and basically use wrong data. So let's close this bad report, because I want to explain our report features using something that was valid. So I'm going to save it under the valid name. It still has the invalidated influenza assay. I'm going to say yes. Takes a bit of time. Okay, reporting. So I go to reporting, I go to my PCR block diagram. Let's do exogenous first. So I go over here. The exogenous first kit is, in this case, I want to take the valid one. PRRS, demonstration, valid. Normally I would have 1 entry in my database, but for demonstration purpose I have a bunch. I hit preview report, and this is what our report looks like. So top left, here is the administration part of the flocks or the herds, if you're dealing with pigs. This is the stuff that I filled in earlier when I was creating the plate on the left side of the screen. Here is your administration, and all the stuff we filled in is over here. This is dealing with the technical stuff from the assay. In this case it was PRRS EXC, which stands for exogenous extraction control. The first part of the assay is dealing with the PRRS EU strain variant, because this kit will detect EU and US strains as well. It's telling me the batch number of the kit that I used for this particular run, and it's telling me that the matrix I used was FTA cards. Here is the histogram. This looks a lot like the ones from our ELISA, but we had to make a few changes to make it look like an ELISA report, because there's a difference between ELISA data and PCR data. If you're dealing with ELISA data, it means that a high titer means that you have a high amount of antibodies. With a PCR, it's the opposite. A low value in a PCR means that you have a high amount of pathogen. So we decided that it would be nice if we would just flip the axis, because that way it would read the same as an ELISA report. So on the left we start with 0, which is negative, and then we go from the high CQ values all the way to the low CQ values, and it's going from low positive to high positive. So it resembles an ELISA report. It reads the same way to try and avoid confusion. Here are the controls, and as shown earlier with influenza, this is an active check. The software will check if the controls are valid. If they're not valid, it will tell you, and then you won't be able to report it. Amount of positive samples, I have 5 of them, minimum CQ, maximum CQ, number of samples, 7. 1 was invalid, as you remember, that was the red orb over here. And here is the recap of negative, suspicion and positive. 105, which is 6, which is not 7. There's a reason why, because the one invalid one is omitted from the statistics, because if something is invalid, you don't know what it is. It can be positive, it can be negative, it was a failed sample. So we remove it from the statistics. Here is the exact table, and it's telling you which ones were positive, which ones were negative, and it's telling you something about the extraction status. And that's done because this kit contains the exogenous extraction control. You will also see that there is a relative load section in the report. I didn't select standards for this batch, as you may or may not remember. If you do decide to use the standards for this kit, the software will automatically calculate the load of the copies of target in the original sample, as long as the matrix is a fluid one, like oral fluid or serum. So this looks nice. This is for EU. You get the same report for the HP variant if you use this kit, because it doesn't only detect the EU strain, it also does the US strain and the HP strain. And it will do the same for the North American variant. And if you are happy with this, which we think you are or will be, many ways of getting this result to the person requesting the result. Most people will decide to convert it into something like a PDF file. We have a whole bunch of different export options, but most commonly used, turn it into a PDF, and then you can send off the PDF to whoever requested the information. That's PRRS. Let's look at MGMS. I'm going to close this one, I don't need it anymore. I'm going to go back to my search PCR. I'm not going to select exogenous, I'm going to select endogenous. I'm going to take the same valid plate again, and I'm going to select MGMS, hit preview report, and here it is. Exact same report, same build-up, same features, only this time it's MGMS. So I have two targets, I have MG and I have MS. For this kit, in the past, I have used standards once or twice during my daily routine, and if I used standards, the load will be calculated based on the CT value. I only recommend doing this for liquid matrices to avoid, let's say, differences in the load. Again, I can convert this into a PDF file and send it off to whoever requested it, and that's it. So the big benefits of using the software, like I've demonstrated here, it does two things. It helps the technician in running the whole assay from start to finish. It helps the person requesting the data, because you get a nice digital report. And another benefit is we try to remove sources of error. So there are no copying and pasting mistakes, because you only write down the information for the samples once and you never have to touch it again. The next thing is there's a speed benefit here. Making the plate with, let's say, spreadsheets or handwritten stuff takes a lot of time. We do it here digitally. You do it once, and it has tools to speed up the process. There's no need for reagent calculations. The software does it for you. That's time saving. Like I showed earlier, there are time benefits in running the PCR on the cycler, because you don't have to program the cycler for all the different statuses of the sample, because our software will differentiate between the different options. And it saves you a whole bunch of time with the plate validation and sample validation, because it does it automatically. And it saves you a lot of time when making a report, because it's just one click of a button.